Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. I just ran down the hallway. Oh, it's o'clock. Time to start. So welcome to my 40-day yoga challenge. And this is a very special yoga challenge. 40 days, 40 postures. And each one of these shapes is to begin to learn to let go and to lie down and to relax and to stretch the physical body. And so yesterday we started with banana asana, and I encourage you to go back and just have a review of that posture. Probably each day I'm going to introduce something new, but sometimes I will refer to what happened in a previous class. So today we're going to do something that is connected a little bit to the energy of the full moon. Right now, this is the full moon, May 2020. So we are in the heart of the COVID season, if you will. And this illumination of this particular full moon feels really big. It feels like it's stirring up a lot for a lot of people. And I am here to help you to let go and to restore and to relax. So what you need today is a blanket, and I'm just going to show you the blankets that I have here. The yoga products that you see, and now I have no endorsement from this particular company, but all of the props I have in the room are from a company called Half Moon, and these are their cotton blankets. And I'm just showing you this. I'll just back up so you can see me. So this is about the size of a twin bed, so a single bed. And the reason I'm showing you this is so when you roll up your own blanket, you know how big my blanket is. So this is just over 2 arm widths wide. And it is a little stretchy this way. So 1, 2, about 3 arm widths long. So a bolster for this particular pose that we're working on today is not quite, it's too big. And so we want to create our own bolster from a fairly dense blanket. So this is a thin cotton blanket. I wouldn't use a plush, what do you call it? Fleece blanket. So I'm folding this blanket long ways in thirds. And I have found this is kind of the magic size for this one. And so I have folded in thirds this way, and then I'm going to create a bolster. So I'm just going to roll up this blanket. I'm going to go down to the mat and do it so I can do it nice and tight. And then what's really nice, if you have a blanket and you like this posture today, you can just leave your blanket folded for this particular posture, which I think you're really going to enjoy. Yeah, and it's best not to have too many lumps in the blanket. So, and of course blankets stretch and so forth, so they don't always roll up perfectly. So I will compare this to the bolster here just so you can see the difference in size. Right? It's quite a bit smaller, and it is just a little bit, not quite as wide as my yoga mat. And with my hand, if I measure this on my hand, it's definitely smaller than my hand. Like I could hold this in my hand. And so this is our prop for the yoga pose today. And I don't have a name for this. What we are going to do is elevate the body in 3 different parts. And this rolled up blanket is going to go underneath the hips, the heart, and the shoulders. And because today we are in the energy of the full moon, we're going to start with the pelvis. And this blanket is going to go down around the level of my pelvis. And going to sit right onto the blanket and then lie down on my back. And this Really does feel amazing. Like I said yesterday, when you come down to the floor, if you're not used to the yogic practice, it's kind of important to take your time, and you may want to come down and just lie on the floor in a shavasana for a moment, just to let your body settle before you come into this posture. So I'm going to lift up my hips and place this underneath my sacrum, and then extend my legs. So just like we did yesterday, move the shoulder blades underneath, and then I have my palms open. Chin is moving in towards my collarbones. And if for any reason this feels uncomfortably high off the floor, for your head, you could put a blanket underneath your head. And today I've got quite a bit of tension in my legs. So one of the things you can do before you come into something like this is just to do a little bit of tension and relaxation. So as I lie here, my pelvis is elevated off the floor. And so the idea is the pelvic bowl is spilling open to the outside. And when you begin this, you're going to have a lot of tension in your glutes, and your legs are going to be holding on. So it's important to come to the breath, close your eyes, and just begin to let go. And it will, just like the game of Twister, everything will begin to connect, and you'll realize everything that's connected to all of the joints, the fascia in this particular area. So different things are going to light up for different people. Now, normally when I do this, I do this in the reverse order. And the reason I'm starting with the pelvis today is because we are on the cycle of the full moon. The cycle of the full moon being connected to the waters of the second chakra, to the pelvic girdle. And so in this particular posture, we're just going to stay here and breathe. And as I indicated yesterday, if you've got 15 minutes, you're going to probably lie on the floor for 1 minute, just land. And then about 4 minutes, or if you have more time, you could do more time for each of the 3 positions. And if you, for any reason, feel that when you are finished one particular part of the body, that, whoa, that was a lot, then you're going to come into a mini shavasana in each of the stages in between. So I'm just going to count 11 breaths here before I transition to the next position. Now, if I were doing this on my own, in my own bedroom before I go to bed at night, I would spend probably about 10 minutes in each position. And also, because this is a new program, I'm not introducing mantra, but I would also introduce mantra seed sounds for each of the 3 positions. And we will come back to that in other shapes as well too. So now I can feel my body starting to let go. And so now is when I really want to stay. But this elevation of the pelvis is going to create a clenching in the glutes and the back of the hips. And so it takes quite a bit of time to begin to release here. So that is the first part. And then what you would do is just bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Inhale the hips up. And then you have a couple of choices. You can go right to the second position, or you can come down into a little bit of integration. So either, oh, that just feels amazing. So it's so powerful, so subtle, but so powerful. And for those of you that coming to a Shavasana is too extreme, like we did yesterday, soles of the feet to the mat, the width of the mat, and then just rest your knees together. And take a few breaths just to integrate. When I'm on the floor like this, my hands naturally come into mudra, to a hand gesture. And it's one way for me to remind myself to relax. The other thing you can do is just move between each of the fingers. And this is a lovely gesture to balance all the tattvas, all the energy lines in the body, just rotating between the fingers. So yeah. Okay, so for the second part, now this is the tricky one. And this one is going to go into and behind the solar plexus. Depending on the length of your torso, it's going to depend where the blanket goes. So ideally, it's right behind the belly button. And this is a kind of a weird shape for a lot of people. Most people have never done anything quite like this. Some of you might have a lumbar support in your car, but this is a little bit thicker. It's a little bit thicker and a little bit more intense. So soles of the feet back to the floor. Inhale the hips up. Place the bolster underneath the hips. Sorry, not underneath the hips, underneath the natural waist. So here is my navel center. And actually the blanket is a little bit lower. So you'll know where it feels right. And again, this is a kind of, it's very awkward. So very gently, one leg at a time, lowering your legs down, and your body will naturally kind of roll into place. Bend your arms, elbows on the floor, pick up your shoulder blades, and then allow the body to settle. And it's going to go, ooh, this is not a natural position. And then find your breath. And of course, this one you definitely wouldn't do with a full belly. This position is going to be nourishing the back body where the kidneys are, putting pressure into the adrenal glands. And so for those of you that are right now in serious fight or flight with your sympathetic nervous system kind of activated, this is going to be really uncomfortable. So you may just want to jump out of this position. And so you just connect to breath and you breathe here. I'm going to count 11 breaths. Do your best just to let go. You want to observe where your body is holding on. Soften where you can. Go ahead, adjust your legs. You can readjust the shoulder blades. And if this size of blanket is too large, if it's too intense, then maybe you're going to roll up a sheet or something smaller. Maybe even a magazine or something. So the intensity of the raising of the 3 body parts is not quite so much. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And if your hands are stretched out, bring them closer in. Slide the feet in. Raise the hips up off the floor. Remove your blanket roll. And very slowly. Now, when you're in this position, I usually suggest upper back. So you're rounding the back down. Upper back, middle back, then the lower back. If you're able to come into Shavasana, come into Shavasana. And this one isn't quite as extreme as the integration of the other one, because having the pelvis elevated is a lot more extreme because we have a natural curve in the lumbar spine. And so this one, the transition to Shavasana, isn't as great. So if you are in a rush, you can skip the integration in between. But if you do have time for that integration, it's a really, really good idea. Okay, so the third part is to place the rolled up bolster behind the energetic heart space. So you can readjust the blanket roll. And so this is going to go at the level of the shoulder blades. And perhaps the most difficult to find just the right position. So as I make my way down here, my armpits are above the blanket roll. My shoulder blades, I can feel them on the blanket roll. And this is a big, for some people, not comfortable to have their heads that far back, leaning back. So you could have a small blanket ready, another blanket, or a little cushion perhaps, if that's too much for your neck. Personally, I love the neck stretch, but I'm just going to show you with and without. So again, my shoulder blades are on the blanket roll. My feet are still bent. Yeah, that is. So you can place this here for your head so it's not as an extreme of a neck stretch. My arms are completely off the blanket roll. And the reason for the shorter bolster is so that there's space for your arms. If you have a longer bolster, then your arms are going to be in a really awkward position. And in this one too, you could also place something underneath your knees. Or you could bring your knees into Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together. And because this is a restorative practice, if you're going to do that, then you would want to support your knees with blocks or with bolsters. So this shape, we have the energetic heart space elevated. Gravity will assist to bring your shoulders back. And you might want to press into the floor and just adjust the shoulder blades if necessary, but I'm feeling pretty good. Like I don't need an adjustment here. And so you might want to try this, have your little cushion ready, and then you can try it without the cushion, which is a completely different experience because then the front of the neck is getting a bit of a stretch. But if that is too much restriction on the back of the neck, then you want to have this little cushion here. So I talked about this today in the live readings that I was doing, and I'm just going to kind of revisit this medicine because it's important. So the heart space is connected to the shoulders and to the hands. So we want to, by elevating the heart space, soften the shoulders and soften the hands. We want to be aware of the softness and the balance in both arms and in both hands. And with the chest elevated, you can focus on the breath in the chest. Nice deep breaths in the chest. And most people really like this one, this shape. And for those of you with asthma or who are having trouble breathing, or if you have a lot of anxiety in this part of the body, this will feel really good, really healing to have the blanket roll underneath the back of the heart space. The heart space is also connected to the skin. So you will hear me say in my yoga classes to soften the skin. And that really helps with connecting all the dots in the heart opening postures. Soften the skin, soften the jaw, soften the tongue. Take 3 more deep breaths here. Feel the connection of the hands to the heart. Big exhale. And then bring the arms a little closer, soles of the feet to the floor. And you can simply roll to a side. Remove the blanket roll. You can remove your little cushion. Just come down into a posture of integration. So just down into complete relaxation. Now you're going to feel this on your back when you come down into Shavasana. It's going to bring awareness to the tension in your upper back. And so for me, when I do this, it's just a reminder, okay, I need to do this more often. I need to do this more frequently. And so you want to build, perhaps doing 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. And then once you practice more, you can add a couple more minutes in each position. Okay. So soles of the feet to the floor, and you can roll to a side. Just come into a fetal position, and I'm going to come up because I have a few more things to share with you. So this is one of my favorite postures. I feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck because you're doing 3 postures in one. So you've got 3 parts in one effort. And so this feels to me like a very complete posture because you get those mini shavasnas in between each stage. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go over what I talked about yesterday. So every video, I'm going to do a different posture. And we will kind of build as we go through the 40 days. So I suggested today that there was a mantra, there was a seed sound that I could have added for each of these 3 positions. And a little further down the road, I'm going to add some mantra. So that will help with the development of the shape, the letting go, the relaxation, and we'll also start to build a little more breath practice and a little bit more awareness into the breath practice. But right now, I just want to get you comfortable with moving into these various shapes. So please let me know how that's going for you. So I thought today I would draw from the Seeds of Shakti Oracle. This is a little tiny poker-sized, might even be smaller, little tiny deck that is connected very much to the lunar energy. It's brilliantly colored. The backs are kind of fun because they make their own little shape. So the backs are black and white, and you put the black and white pieces together and it makes a mandala. The artist's name is Sharon Basanti. It's out of print right now, but it will come back. She's working on another deck, and once that one's out, I'm pretty sure she will reprint Seeds of Shakti. So the other thing I didn't say was to really be in touch with me. So if any of these poses for some reason don't feel quite right in your body, please reach out. I'm here to help you work through them. And if you, I guess we'll look at that one, if you intuitively feel that the poses go against what anyone on your medical team has suggested, then please don't do them. Okay, really listen to your inner wisdom and of course your medical team. Okay, so the card for today, other than the one which jumped out, which we'll look at, is Hanuman. The key phrase is your devotion is your strength. So in the yogic practice, Hanuman, the Hanuman posture is the splits. Hanuman, named after Hanuman. Hanuman is the part monkey deity who leapt across from the south of India to Sri Lanka to rescue Sita. This is a long story, but Hanuman is a very devoted and displays enormous strength throughout all of the tales that go through the Indian folklore. And so, yeah, the key word is your devotion is your strength. And I'm just going to kind of take that as encouragement for myself to stick with this 40-day challenge and to stick with this practice, because it is one that I love very much and I have wanted to share on YouTube for some time. I'll walk up to the camera in a moment. It's very far away from where I am, and I'll show you these cards. And the other one is CENSER. So a CENSER is an Indian incense container. So you know cone incense? So a CENSER is one of those containers where you put the cone incense inside and then you put the lid on top. And so this has the energy of burning incense, so connected to the ether and creating sacred space. And so what you might want to do as you join me in this 40-day challenge is to make your space, make this time together a little bit sacred. And so that might mean lighting a candle or burning incense or doing something like that. Yeah. So I'll walk these up to the camera in just a moment. The other thing that I wanted to let you know, and the links are in the description box below, I am doing online yoga classes on Zoom on Monday night and Thursday morning. So here's the cards. It's kind of weird me walking up here. So there you go. And if you want to register for the classes, the first time you do have to sign in, and then every other time after that, you can just show up, and they are complimentary. So yeah. So let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Namaste.